Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 458 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube as always. Thank you very much for tuning in, regardless of whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording. And I know I sound a little bit like a broken record when I say that, but I do mean it. I am very, very grateful for the fact that a lot of you tune in and watch and leave comments, etc., etc. Speaking of comments, the first one is a good one today. It goes to Jeff, who just says, But then he does come back with, are we going to have the price talk again, Mr. P? I don't know. See what happens. See how it goes. I mean, I think we did a lot about the price talk a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Anyway, lots and lots of people have already got lots to say about this release. Maria's here. Bart says hi from Belgium. Oriana says good afternoon from Lisbon and is doing a lot of good work on behalf of the Portuguese Tourism Authority. Mache's here too. Gavin is here as well, being remarkably prescient, Gavin. Well done. So is David and Magdalena and Natasha and Sister Parfum. Lots and lots and lots of you here. Oh dear, but I think we need to send some condolences to Ula, who says, would you all be so kind and join me in mourning with me my most likely lost in the post Iris Poudre, which I got for £45. Oh my goodness, that was a bargain. Was that a big bottle? But give it a few more days, it might still turn up. But that is very, very sad news. Anyway, I know that the vast majority of you watch the recording. But for those of you who very, very, very faithfully and gratifyingly for me tune in live, I will tell you that the plan for today is to do 4 videos back to back. The first 3 will be new releases from pretty big houses, and then we will come back with something that will definitely not be a new release, or 2 things that are definitely not a new release. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. Click on the little bell so that you get notifications of new videos. And if you enjoy this video and the other ones, then please do give it a thumbs up, because that helps with the old algorithm. Okay, we have a new Frederic Malle. Now, there has been a lot that's been said about Frederic Malle in the last few days, because it was, what was it, about a week ago or 5 days ago that he officially announced that he will be leaving his brand at in a few months. I want to say, did he say at the end of June? I don't intend to go into that, partly because I don't actually know the real reason why he's leaving. I think there are lots and lots of people out there who reckon they know the reasons, and if they do, they have access to greater sources of information than I have. But I have written a little bit on the subject and about his legacy and about his departure over on my Substack. So please do go and check out the Substack, where you will also find reviews of some of the perfumes of his that I haven't reviewed over the years. So kind of put that one to one side. I would imagine that this is not going to be the final Frederic Malle scent we're going to get from Edition de Parfum Frederic Malle, from the brand, because in the normal way of things, he's probably already working on and maybe even finalizing scents that are going to be released 18 years from now, if not 24 months from now. So I think we can safely assume that whatever we get from the brand over the course of the next 18 months is still a scent that maybe wasn't finished by Malle, but it was at least initiated by Malle. So I don't think this is the end. I don't think this is the swan song. But it's still very, very interesting. I have questions about this release. And over the course of the last few days, as I've been sort of smelling it and wearing it, the number of questions has just increased. And hopefully I will have answers to some of those questions by the end of this broadcast. This is one of his collaboration scents. There haven't been many over the years. I believe the first one was with Dries van Noten. Gorgeous, really, really beautiful perfume. But that kind of had to be discontinued, basically, because the Dries van Noten name went to Pooch, and so it wasn't possible for another brand, let alone an Estee Lauder brand, to be releasing a Dries van Noten perfume. Then we had Superstitious, which was made in collaboration with the late designer, who was it, Albert Elbaz. That was a really, really interesting kind of strange aldehydic jasmine composed by Dominique Ropion. And now we have a collaboration with the Swedish brand Acne Studios. I'm going to come straight out and say that I was not aware of this brand. I mean, that just shows how in tune I am with hipster culture. I now know that it seems this is the sort of must-have hipster brand. Apparently, it's because of the designer of the brand. One is it Johnny Johansson that we've got him to thank for Millennial Pink, that particular shade of pink. It's composed by a Simrise perfumer called Suzy Le Helley, who is also new to this brand, so that makes it interesting. So I think we should do some smelling, because most of my questions around this are actually to do with its scent. What are folks here? Jeff is saying Dries van Noten was sublime, Superstitious was bold. Gavin says the juice color looks like it's designed for people who like rosé wine. Well, look, the color is not actually the color of the juice. The color is created by the fact that they've painted the base of the bottle gorgeous millennial pink, and so that is what gives it that shade. The juice itself, I think, is probably just pretty ordinary perfume juice. So there you go. That's another little. I mean, I suppose it's quite a nice touch, making it appear colored without actually coloring the juice, because I do have a real aversion to colored perfume. I don't understand why you need to color it, but anyway, let us spray. I am loath to spray a lot because this stuff is crazy diffusive and crazy tenacious. So I think we will just do the one, if you don't mind. The first time I sprayed this, I just did a kind of general spray in the room, actually in the hallway of the house. And the smell lingered for ages. So, you know, if you're after tenacity, you need to put this one on your list. Is it Lane? It says, I have some classics from Acne from 10 years ago, still wearable and ageless. Interesting. I was trying to kind of work out what their style is, and they talk about, you know, maximal minimalism or minimal maximalism. I mean, it seems to be, I think one of the best descriptions I got of the brand's aesthetic actually was in a Guardian article, where they said that it was kind of quite Scandinavian, in the sense that it was sort of quite utilitarian, quite no nonsense, mixing and matching things that you wouldn't necessarily mix and match together, but being guided by utility, and not shying away from lots and lots of synthetic materials. Clearly managed to be very, very cool. Sister Parfum says, if they redo the Dries van Noten, then they found, I found Commune with Heaven new one audio. I think check has autocorrect betrayed you there. But please, for the love of sense, put back my Dries van Noten. Anyway, Spaced Out says Acne Studio is Swedish minimalism, basically cheaper than designer clothing. Okay, so here we go. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where to start. We have got a press release. Perhaps I'll read a little bit of it. Okay, so in terms of smell, this is a crazy, crazy, crazy overdose of aldehydes. I mean, if you thought there were lots of aldehydes in Chanel No. 5, and then you kind of came to Chanel No. 22, and you thought, oh, now I understand what a lot of aldehydes means, you would come to this and you go, oh, now I get how many aldehydes you can actually push into a perfume. It feels like they kind of literally sort of sat there and said, let's look at number 22. Let's see how much further we can go. Consequently, it starts off, you know, straight off the bat, it comes across as super synthetic, really, really unashamedly synthetic. I think that's interesting. I don't have any problem with things smelling synthetic. And that actually sort of brings me to one of the points that I wanted to make. You know, there's two ways you can go with synthetic perfumes, or I should say all synthetic perfumes, because almost all modern perfumes have got a lot of synthetic materials in them. But there's two ways you can go with all synthetic perfumes. You can either try to disguise the fact that that they're all synthetic and try to create an impression of something that is very, very naturalistic, or you can say, no, we're going to be very, very overt about the fact that this is all synthetic. This definitely, to my nose, goes into the latter camp. But I wonder if the brand would agree. because I've had a quick look at the list of notes, and they talk about things like heliotrope and iris, and I don't know what else. And I'm sort of smelling this thinking, really? This feels like the kind of thing that if an android were to smell it, they might complain about it smelling a bit too synthetic. It's aldehyde, 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 and I mean those really, really sharp, champagne bubbly aldehydes. And yes, then you do start getting into areas that you could call floral. But again, they're very overtly, again, to my nose, synthetically floral. It's so you get, something that could be a synthetic iris or a synthetic heliotrope or maybe a synthetic peach, but all the time it's just like super, 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 super powdery. Pause for a sec. What are you saying? Spaced out. So this is to aldehydes what iris silver mist is to iris. Yeah. Park that to one side for a bit. Come back to that. See what you think. See if you get your answer by the end of the broadcast. Oris Eros says, I am aghast that anyone likes this. I thought this was a release for me, but I really disliked it. Stay tuned. I find it, Ty says, I find it ironic that you say that to Oris Eros. I've been saying that I'd be concerned for people who found themselves disliking it, as to me, it's very likable. See, this is interesting. Johnny Toblerone says, didn't seem overly synthetic to me, maybe due to me trying it on skin as opposed to paper. I've sort of done three now. I've done paper, I've done skin, I've done fabric. It feels like a Kylie skin perfume, says RM. But okay. Yeah, Jeff, the price is this crazy. I think this is just under three. No, what is it? Is it just under 300 or just over 300 pounds for 100 mils? It is a crazy price. Now, I have really, really actually struggled to decide, and this sounds like a bizarre thing to say. I've struggled to decide whether I like it or not. That I was really trying to put myself in the position of smelling it blind, which of course I will never be able to do now because I have smelt it. And I thought, okay, had somebody presented this to me, or even more interestingly, had somebody told me, gave it to me in a lab sample and told me that this is the new Versace, or this is the new Dolce & Gabbana, or this is, I don't know, tell me another brand that's a little bit in that field, or this is the new, well, let's stick with Versace and D&G. I think, I hate to say this, but I think I would have been sitting here saying, oh my goodness, what, chemical concoction, synthetic mess, this is so shrill, this is so harsh. Because there is definitely that aspect to it. But the thing that really, really threw me, because I was really struggling with it, thinking, oh my goodness, this is so strident, this is really not doing it for me. The aldehydes are just so, like needles in my brain. Then, without telling long-suffering good old Madame Persolaise what it was, I let her smell it on the blotter. And I was convinced that she would recoil. I was convinced that she would sort of go, oh, what is it? Because she usually doesn't like crazy aldehydic things. She smelt it and she immediately did a sort of purr and said, oh, that's really, really lovely. It's sort of so cuddly and warm and powdery and really, really gentle. And I thought, okay, there are clearly two ways of reading this perfume. And she actually asked if she could borrow it for a bit. So that she could wear it. And I thought, yeah, absolutely. I want to smell it on you. I want to see how it works on you. So go figure. Let's do the press release for a bit. We have a pre-sprayed lot, a pre-dipped mermaid. We have a pre-dipped mermaid. I don't intend to read all of it because it's quite a long press release. Acne Studios and Édition de Parfum meet at the intersection of fashion, perfumery, and art. Driven since their inception by the ambition to create a radically new aesthetic, both houses draw their essence from photography, architecture, culture, and design, and apply those creative principles to everything from boutiques to clothing, fragrances, to bottles. Frederic Malle and Johnny Johansson, founder and creative director of Acne Studios, have always chosen to explore alternative paths with a multidisciplinary vision of their art and a steadfast commitment to the principle of absolute creative freedom, etc., etc. There you go. Johnny says, I'd agree with Madame Persolaise. It was quite approachable and pillowy once the aldehydes settle. I mean, that's great because I genuinely mean that that's great, because if they have succeeded in making something polarizing and interesting, that is great. Because I think that is what you should strive for. Then there's quite a bit about Acne Studios and Frederic Malle himself. Let's get to the... Actually, let's do a little bit about the perfumer. Suzy Le Helley is a perfumer who trained at the renowned French perfumery school ISIPCA and the Symrise Perfumery School in Germany, having caught the attention of master perfumers Annick Menardo and Maurice Roussel, who became her mentors. Pretty good duo to have as your mentors. Today, she utilizes her talent at the fragrance house Symrise. Suzy draws inspiration from the diversity of plants, scents, and flavors that she discovers in her daily life and on her travels, where she frequently meets producers of natural raw materials. Passionate about botany since childhood, she has also developed a taste for synthesis and synthetic materials, which expands the palette and creative output of perfumers. Le Helley likes short, precise, easy-to-read formulas where each ingredient is carefully administered to deliver a clear message. And let's get on to the perfume. A perfectly crafted creation, the perfume has a singular allure. Aldehydes comprise the true backbone of the composition, unfolding in the first instance in a pure and crystalline breath. I mean, it is crystalline, absolutely, that develops into a long-term radiance. This immediate, intense thrill is matched by the softness of the floral notes. Hints of rose and violet convey a certain classicism, underscored by the luminosity of orange blossom. I mean, I'm thinking, yes, I get these things, but again, they come across to me as so synthetic. Maybe because they're synthetic, but also maybe because of the aldehydes. At the heart of the floral bouquet, a hint of incense appears, supplying a mineral freshness that amplifies the aldehyde echo. Next comes a striking contrast with vanilla, subtle and understated, delivering its softness alongside creamy sandalwood and a note of peach skin. I'll smell the pre-dipped mermaid in a sec. This softness caresses the skin like a comforting mohair sweater, thanks to the graceful notes of white musk. From this tactile and tangible trail emerges the soul of Acne Studios by Frederic Malle. I mean, I love the fact that the Frederic Malle press releases remain quite prosaic and, you know, direct and literal. Where's the pre-sprayed one? So this was sprayed about 3 or 4 hours, if not 5 actually, because I wanted to give this one a lot of time. I mean, yes, obviously it settles, it's calmer, but it seems to be like a calmer version of what we started with. So I would say it's actually mostly pretty linear. And yeah, I would go along with the rose and the violet, but again, in that very, very shrill way, you know, like if you could hear this perfume, if this perfume were a sound, to me, it would just constantly be this really, really high-pitched note. But I guess it's just going to be read differently by different people. I think in some senses it's interesting that it's been done by Malle, because I think it is unquestionably easily the most all-out kind of out and out unashamedly synthetic thing he's done. And it's also in a way kind of the most sci-fi thing he's done. So maybe it fits with the brand. Maybe it fits with the sort of super clean, super streamlined aesthetic that hipsters or millennials supposedly strive for. But I am rather perplexed. But you know, it's a good thing to be perplexed. It's a good thing to have your sort of views challenged. But I don't know. I don't know. Before we finish, because we've been going on about this one for 20 minutes and we have lots of other ones to talk about as well. What are people saying? Gavin says, "Is this not a bit like a version of Estee Lauder's Pleasures then?" Gosh, there's a comparison I wasn't expecting. I'd have to revisit Pleasures, but no, Pleasures, I think, to me, has got a more of a naturalistic feel to it. Mr. Blackmore says, Mr. P, have you ever tried Angélique sous la pluie by Malle? I think that's one of the best of the line. Actually, I've reviewed it over on the Substack. Persolaise, what do you make of Malle's departure? Go over to the Substack, because we it's too much for us to get into in this video. Woozy says, better than the shoulder shrug that was Uncut Gem. Oh no, Uncut Gem was more of a show. Or did I say shoulder shrug at the time? No, I think I actually dislike Uncut Gem now. I love Heaven Can Wait. I think it's interesting that only a few years ago he gave us Synthetic Jungle, which was also a real kind of out and out synthetic scent, but very definitely mixed with natural notes. This just smells like fabric softener heated up on the stove, says Oris. I mean, yeah, I would be inclined to agree. But then some fabric softeners also smell quite good. I mean, I don't know if it's an interesting aesthetic to be putting out there. If I had been, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I need to think about it. It's very, very, very expensive. There is no way on earth I would be, personally even thinking about spending this sort of money for this. Madame Persolaise approves. If she changes her mind, I will let you know. But yes, there we are. I kind of personally hope this isn't the last Frederic Malle perfume from Frederic Malle. I hope he kind of properly goes out with a bang. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. We will be back in a few moments with something brand new from Uncle Serge. See you in a bit. Bye now.